We've all seen and used crosswalks before, but they may not be as easy to spot as you think. This is a crosswalk, and so is this. And this is one too. And same here. And of course, this one here as well. Now you may even see some that look a little bit different, just like this one. And this one too. But did you know this is also a crosswalk? And this too. Now, you may be thinking, wait, that's not right. There is no crosswalk here. Well, according to the Texas Transportation Code, there is a crosswalk at these locations, even if it's not marked with lines or other markings. That means that all four-way intersections with the sidewalk have a crosswalk, even if it's not marked with lines. So how do you identify these unmarked crosswalks? An easy way is to think about how the sidewalks would extend across the road to meet with the sidewalk on the opposite side of the road. So again, that means there is a crosswalk at a location like this, and also at a location like this.
Motorists, always keep an eye out for pedestrians and remember to stop and yield the right-of-way at crosswalks and intersections. Here are some common situations where you should stop and yield the right-of-way. Look for pedestrians that are on your right when making right turns. And when a pedestrian is crossing the street in front of you, remember to always stop before the crosswalk. When making a right turn from a dedicated right turn lane, remember to stop and yield to pedestrians. And when making left turns, stop and yield to pedestrians that are crossing the road on your left. Motorists, you are also required to stop for pedestrians who are in a crosswalk that is not located at an intersection. At all four-way intersections, not controlled by a stoplight, pedestrians have the right-of-way, even if there's not a painted crosswalk, and even in intersections with stop control only in one direction. However, when crossing the road at a point other than a four-way intersection or marked crosswalk, a pedestrian should yield the right-of-way to all vehicles. A motorist approaching another vehicle from behind may not pass that vehicle if they're stopped to allow pedestrians to cross the roadway. Pedestrians are harder to see at night because of low visibility, so it is important to stay alert and use all roadway cues to keep both you and the other roadway users safe. A pedestrian warning sign warns drivers that pedestrians may be crossing the road ahead. You may see the sign as you approach an intersection or a mid-block crosswalk. If you see a pedestrian warning sign, start watching for the pedestrian crossing sign and crosswalk. Likewise, a school crossing sign warns drivers that school children and other pedestrians may be crossing the roadway. You will see this sign close to schools and on roads that approach schools. Just like with a pedestrian crossing sign, be alert to children and other pedestrians entering a crosswalk. Come to a complete stop if a pedestrian is anywhere in the crosswalk, and wait until they finish crossing to proceed. Keep in mind that children are smaller and harder to see, and may be less predictable than adult pedestrians. A pedestrian crossing sign consists of the pedestrian warning sign, plus a downward pointing arrow to indicate the location of the crosswalk. The same is true for a school crossing sign. These signs warn drivers that pedestrians may be crossing the road at that location. You may see the sign at an intersection or at a mid-block crosswalk. If you see a pedestrian or school crossing sign, be alert to pedestrians who may be entering the crosswalk from the right or left side of the roadway. If a pedestrian is already in the crosswalk, stop and wait for them to finish crossing before you proceed. Active signs and signals may be used for some pedestrians crossing locations to provide more information to drivers about where to watch for pedestrians crossing the road. These active traffic control devices include pedestrian hybrid beacons, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, and LED embedded pedestrian crossing signs. These devices can be seen on a variety of roadways and in use at any time of day. A pedestrian hybrid beacon, or a PHB, is used to warn and control traffic at locations where pedestrians cross a higher speed street or highway. Pedestrian hybrid beacons are only installed at mid-block crossings or uncontrolled intersections, not at intersections that already have a traditional traffic signal. These devices are typically activated by a pedestrian waiting at the crossing. The PHB will be on a signal mast arm at a marked crosswalk and may be accompanied by a pedestrian crossing sign. If you are approaching a crosswalk with a PHB, the lights on the PHB's signal head will tell you what to do. If the signal head is dark, there are no pedestrians crossing and you may proceed. If the amber light at the bottom of the signal is flashing, a pedestrian has pushed the button for a walk signal, but has not gotten the signal to cross yet. You may proceed across the crosswalk, but be extra cautious and be ready to stop if a pedestrian starts to cross early. When the amber light changes from flashing to steady, the pedestrian is about to get a walk signal. Treat this light like a steady amber light at a traditional intersection. Slow to a stop before the crosswalk if you can do so safely. When the PHB shows two red steady lights at the top of the signal head, you must stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk, just like you would stop at any other red light. If the PHB's two red lights are flashing, stop before the crosswalk, then proceed if it is clear, like you would at an intersection with a flashing red light or a stop sign. Another type of traffic control device you might see on the road is a rectangular rapid flashing beacon, or an RRFB, which is used for mid-block crossings, often on multi-lane roads. They are always accompanied by a pedestrian crossing sign and a marked crosswalk. These beacons flash when a pedestrian activates them prior to entering the crosswalk. When you see it flashing, stop and wait for the pedestrian to finish crossing the roadway before proceeding. For better visibility, an LED-embedded pedestrian crossing sign may be installed at a crosswalk. This crossing sign has small LED lights around its edges that flash to alert drivers that a pedestrian may be trying to cross. These are typically activated by a pedestrian, but can also sometimes operate continuously in areas with high pedestrian traffic. Drivers must stop and wait before the crosswalk for any pedestrians to finish crossing the roadway before proceeding. Dooring laws are very important to bicycle safety, especially since bicyclists are required to ride as far to the right as possible, placing them closer to on-street parking. Texas law requires that no person open the door of a motor vehicle on the side available to moving traffic, unless the door may be opened in reasonable safety without interfering with the movement of other traffic. In addition, no person shall leave a door open on the side of a vehicle next to moving traffic for longer than is necessary to load or unload a passenger. If you're exiting a car, do a safety check by using your mirrors and looking over your shoulder for cars and bicycles before opening your door. Do the same safety check when you're getting ready to pull out of a parking space. Please do not park in a marked bike lane. Blocking bike lanes creates a hazard for cyclists as well as other vehicles.
You may have heard messages about passing bicyclists at a safe distance, but what is a safe distance and what does that look like? According to the Texas Transportation Code, motorists are required to pass a bicyclist at a safe distance. However, the law does not specify what a safe distance is. In general, 3 feet is the minimum recommended passing distance for motorists driving a passenger vehicle. However, if conditions allow, more space can provide additional safety for the bicyclist. If driving on a road with more than one lane in your direction of travel, you may even consider changing lanes. It is also recommended that larger commercial vehicles leave at least 6 feet of room between their vehicle and a bicyclist. But again, the more space, the better. Be aware of any local ordinances that may apply in your jurisdiction, where the 3 feet and 6 feet recommended distances could be a part of the law. And even if the bicyclist has their own bike lane, giving them extra room if you can increases safety for everyone. But how do you know if you are giving a bicyclist enough room while passing? If you're driving a passenger vehicle and leave 3 feet of room between your vehicle and a bicyclist, this is what that would look like from the driver's seat. From the bicyclist perspective, it looks like this. Passing bicyclists at a safe distance is the law, and gives a bicyclist room to feel more comfortable on the road. And if conditions allow, giving a bicyclist more room can provide additional comfort to the bicyclist.
Motorists, when meeting cyclists at intersections, follow the right-of-way rules, just as you would if meeting another motor vehicle. Use your turn signals when changing lanes and turning. Make a right turn from the right curb or roadway edge. If you need to enter or cross a bike lane to turn right, watch for and yield to cyclists who are in the bike lane. As a driver, it is important to understand how a bicyclist will signal their intentions to make turns or lane changes. Here are the basic hand signals a bicyclist must use. When a bicyclist is turning left or making a lane change to the left, they will fully extend their left arm to the side for 3 seconds. When a bicyclist is turning right or making a lane change to the right, they can signal a right turn in 2 different ways. 1. Extend the left arm to the side and lifting it up at a 90-degree angle. 2. Extend their right arm to the side, similar to the left-hand signal, only on the opposite side. Bicycle warning signs provide a warning that a bicyclist may be using the road ahead. In fact, the sign may use a supplemental sign below that says ahead. You may see the sign in an area with high bicyclist activity or when approaching trail crossings. Bicycle crossing or trail signs indicate a crossing and are used in conjunction with the downward arrow or trail crossing plaque to indicate where the crossing is located.
This is a video for motorists on what they can do to make it safer when they become stranded, and how to stay safe when becoming a pedestrian during a vehicle breakdown or flat tire. Unfortunately, hundreds of people in the United States are killed or injured every year while tending to a broken down vehicle on the side of a busy highway. These people are often referred to as unintended pedestrians. Remember that Texas has a move over or slow down law. This means that motorists on a highway with 2 or more lanes in each direction need to move over 1 full lane from law enforcement, emergency service vehicles, or TxDOT vehicles that are stopped on the side of the road. Or they can slow down to 20 miles per hour under the posted speed limit. If there is only 1 lane in each direction, slow down to 20 miles per hour under the posted speed limit. You can also do your part by following these same rules for any vehicle that may be on the side of the road. Moving over or slowing down is a courtesy that will go a long way to improving the safety and comfort of the people working to get their vehicle moving again. If your vehicle is the one that breaks down or has a flat tire, here are some important things to remember. Warn other drivers by turning on your hazard lights. If possible, try to get off the road completely by driving to the nearest gas station or place of business. If you are not able to do this, move to the shoulder and get as far away from traffic as safely possible. If on a major highway, try to drive to the next exit and get to the access road. After stopped, use your cell phone to call for assistance. This could be an auto club or some other roadside assistance service, or you can call the Department of Public Safety Emergency Services number on the back of your driver's license. If you decide to repair the vehicle or flat tire yourself, remember it's best to get off the road completely, especially if you are on a high-speed roadway. Avoid changing a tire next to moving traffic. In many cases, staying in your vehicle and waiting for emergency services or law enforcement to arrive may be the best option. And remember to stay buckled. The presence of a police or emergency vehicle activates the move over slow down law and will make drivers more aware of your presence and that this is an active emergency situation. When you do exit from your vehicle, increase your visibility by putting on a reflective vest that you can keep in your glove compartment. If possible, exit the vehicle on the side away from the moving traffic. If you can't do this, do a safety check by checking your side mirrors and looking over your shoulder for approaching traffic before exiting the vehicle. Stay as far away from traffic as possible. Do not attempt to cross a highway on foot.